Hey, the sun is out, isn't it? There it is.
There it is.
There's the sun. It's been, what, Monday?
I see the sun.
Well, you can't see it on if you move it closer move the camera towards FedEx Forum and up, Jacob, I don't think you can.
That's
because
where you
of
get a little sun.
All right, there it is. There's the sun. And Jessica, up, Jacob. Up. There it is.
Aww. Here comes the sun.
And all it took was the Grizzlies to beat the Heat for the sun to come out.
Everything's cured. Everything's all better. Everything's all fixed. Hallelujah. Thank goodness. Thank goodness. I couldn't do it again, CJ.
Couldn't do what?
I couldn't come in for a third time this week coming off of a loss. I just couldn't do it.
Oh, so you feel good?
I do, yeah. We'll probably argue about it. It's fine.
Yeah, we are.
I've learned time is fleeting. So if you have a morning to feel good, feel good. You could feel like absolute dog poo by the end of the weekend. But for today, I feel good. I enjoyed. I had fun. Dare I say, I have this little journal that it's a 5-year journal, and you write in it. It's like a 1 sentence a day for 5 years, and I've been going strong. But I just got it this year. But yesterday's question was, did you have fun today? And if so, what was fun about it? And I was able to write, yes. I watched Ja Morant hit a game winner over the Miami Heat.
So you journaled that late at night?
No, I do it the next morning.
The next morning, okay. So
I do the day before the next morning. That's
Gotcha.
kind of the pattern that I'm in.
That's good stuff. Is it helping you be more mindful or whatever the hell it's supposed
A
to
little
help
bit.
you do? Okay.
I think it also will trigger, because then you go the next year and you'll see what you wrote on this day the year before, which I think is a cool little memory trick.
But isn't that Facebook, doesn't Facebook?
But I don't do Facebook anymore. I'm not posting statuses.
Okay.
You know, my camera roll does it.
Yeah.
You gotta ask the song. We've gone.
We were talking about something very
I know.
important, Jessica. Okay.
But it was a great song.
What was the song this morning?
I wanna be your lover. I wanna be your.
Come on, Jessica. We got 15 seconds.
I wanna be your.
You want to be what?
Brother. There's a point where it's brother and mother somewhere in there. Because I'll just say the brother and the mother part.
Okay.
It's a great song. It's cute.
Want to be the only one you come for. Let's go.
What's up, everybody? It's Friday. We made it to the end of the week. TGIF, April 4th. It is going to be a good day. Jessica Benson with you from the Grind City Media Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. CJ Hurt behind the glass. Coming up on today's show, the losing streak is over. The Grizzlies win. Ja Morant put on a show in Miami. Tuomas Iisalo gets his first dub as interim head coach. We've got highlights, we've got reaction, and a look ahead to a very important weekend for the Grizzlies. Lang Whitaker will join us to continue the conversation. It is also Final Four weekend, both the women's and men's Final Fours going on beginning tonight on the women's side. Men will get started tomorrow. We'll dive into that. We will have a Sonic mailbag question of the day that we will answer, and then we'll have a little special guest. We're going to have DJ Zirk, one of the Memphis OGs in the hip-hop rap world. He is performing at Riverbeat in a month. We are 1 beat away from Riverbeat, and DJ Zirk is going to join us in studio on this Friday for a little special Music Friday edition. It is a Friday. You know what we say. Call 12.
Creed. By overwhelming demand, the Summer of '99 tour returns. July 27th, FedEx Forum. With special guests 3 doors down. And Mammoth WVH. Tickets on sale now at livenation.com. Creed returns, the Summer of '99 tour.
Bain tries.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Close. He hits and the Grizzlies have the lead.
Yeah!
Jared with an Acumen.
Good defense.
Morant attacking, spinning, hanging, and hitting.
Let's go, show. Let's go.
The Millennium Tour 2025 with Trey Songz. Hustle Marion. With Bow Wow. With special guest Rick Ross. Along with Plies. Boosie. The Yin Yang Twins. And RSVP. Featuring
Sonic Radio. Welcome back to Sonic RNDIO. That spells radio with me, the CIO. This just in, the new Sonic $1.99 menu lets you build a crave-worthy meal for just $1.99 an item. Whether that's a creamy shake, crispy tots, or a quarter-pound double cheeseburger. This just out. Ostriches. They're mean, not very cute, and in my opinion, way too big for a bird. Don't miss the Sonic Fun 99 menu. 5 items, always $1.99. Live free, eat Sonic.
Tax not included. See menu for details.
Grizzlies fans, dunks, dimes, and no-looks are great on TV, but nothing compares to catching them IRL. And that starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight in person. From seeing your favorite Grizzly stars up close to hearing the squeak of the sneakers on the hardwood. Put that jersey collection to use and get tickets at Ticketmaster. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside, Memphis.
I never in a million years would have ever thought that John Cena's final run would be as a heel.
I love it.
I love it.
Once they saw this from The Rock.
They knew it. Everybody knew it except for Cody, which was so good.
Great camera work by WWE.
And then the kick. Yeah, I don't think WWE gets enough credit for the camera work and the production quality. I mean, it is incredible.
Tune in to Grind City Wrestling weekly on the Grind City Media app and on the Grind City Media YouTube channel.
Feels great to feel the sunshine. Gotta own the day like it's all mine. Just got paid in his own time. Been working hard, I've been on the grind. I deserve this feeling, having my way. I've been on this healing. This is my day. The sun's out, let's have a little fun now. I wanna let it all out. That's what it's all about. Cause I deserve this feeling, have it my way. I deserve this healing. This is my day.
Grind City Media presents The Jessica Benson Show with CJ Hurt. Live from the Grind City Media Studios on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
What is up, everybody? Happy Friday. It is a beautiful day, a beautiful day for some Grizzlies game-winning highlights. Let's get straight to the action from last night. Cue it up. Grizzlies Heat from the 3:05. Grizz went down 9 early, but cue up my favorite proverb these days. It's let Ja be Ja. Another is Memphis versus everybody. Another is Scotty be hoopin'. Pippen with the bucket through contact. He had 17 points, 7 assists off the bench. Was huge in the first half. This pass, so nice. Davion Mitchell lost his shoe as Luke Kennard hits the 3. Still, Grizzlies would trail 50-49 at half, but this game had 19 lead changes, was tied 8 times, and in the second half, Ja Morant had buckets falling just like my 401k. Keep in mind he had 3 points in the first half, starting to heat up. Grizz back down 1. All this from a slice of gabagool? He's cooking. Going to fire it up from 3 again here. An archaeologist will look back and say, wow, look at this team taking part in a normal, popular 3-point celebration. Game tied at 103 all, 2:20 to play. Ja this, Ja that. A little God bless on him. Heat would go back up. New game plan. Don't let Ja score. Swings it to the corner where Jaren Jackson Jr. cha-chings from the wing. Of course, Tyler Hero would go tie it up on the other side. So final seconds for the Grizzlies. And this ain't Mary Poppins. Ja doesn't feed the birds. He's unconcerned with the pigeon. Added to the Call 12 collection, another game winner, great father-son moment between Ja and T, and then shed a little tear for the Gritty, making a return in 2025. Grizz win 110-108. When I saw that Gritty, CJ, I said that one's different. That one feels different last night. And I know that sounds insane, but it is true because it felt like a true celebration of a hell of a second half from Ja Morant. 27 of his 30 points coming in that second half. Grizzlies had lost 4 in a row. The Heat had won 6 in a row going into it. It's down to the wire, and we know how this story goes. If you put the ball in Ja Morant's hands at the end of a game where the Grizzlies need a bucket, more times than not, he finds one. And he does it again and again, and that little mid-range game for him is something that we have seen him continue to grow more comfortable in, could continue to see him grow more comfortable in, but at least for a night, the vibes were saved. And I know, like, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna tell me it's just one game. You're gonna ask me, Jessica, did this solve everything? No, but it solved something for a night. Like for a night, I think this entire fan base, this entire city was so thirsty for the feeling that came from last night's game. And this is a city that rests on the Memphis versus everybody mentality. And watching that TNT broadcast, and if you thought that I was going to do gun-themed highlights, you would be wrong, because save that for the TNT crew. Did you watch the post-game for TNT?
No.
I know you don't usually, so that's why I wanted to make sure.
And isn't that inside the NBA or whatever?
No, it was,
is?
well, technically, yes, but it was
Okay.
the between games, because then it went into Lakers-Warriors, and I thought I was going to get a good night's sleep because the Grizzlies game tipped off at 6:30, but I will watch Steph versus LeBron every single time, and the Warriors won last night. So the Grizzlies still behind the Warriors in the standings, but because we do have to do standings updates each and every time these days, because it is April 4th and there are only 5 games left for the Grizzlies in the regular season. The Grizzlies are in 6th as of this morning. The Warriors ahead of them after beating the Lakers last night. The Timberwolves right behind the Grizzlies. They have the same record, but it was different. Somebody pointed this out yesterday, because the Grizzlies have the tiebreaker over the Timberwolves. They're 2-0 against Minnesota this season. They have another game against the Timberwolves coming up back at home. But yesterday, the Grizzlies fell all the way to 8th behind the Timberwolves and the Clippers. The tiebreaker changes if it's a 3-way tie. If it's a 2-way tie, it's just head-to-head. But it's different if it's a 3-way tie. That's why the Grizzlies were in 8th. Now they're back in 6th with the Timberwolves behind them, Clippers right behind them. Anyway, all of the energy that went into talking about Ja Morant and the non-story that became a story because the NBA decided to investigate the finger gun incident between Ja and Buddy Hield, and ultimately it comes out yesterday afternoon that they were both given a warning. And so then what does Ja do in yesterday's game? He comes out and he does the exact same thing. And I kind of expected that. Like, that's just, again, that's Ja being Ja. And I know we feel a little differently about this, but I looked at it last night as somebody who, he's just fed up. And I understand it. Like, it feels personal, because I don't understand how you can say that it's not personal at this point with Ja, with some of this stuff. Now, we'll see what ends up happening, because he did it after every 3 last night. But he just he looked so comfortable and confident. I don't care about the gestures. I care about Ja Morant looking cool, confident, putting up 30, having a game winner, having an awesome moment, getting to run into his dad's arms at the end of it, and then hit the gritty. And hopefully that's some confidence that moves this team into a better position. So if all of that was for this, and it ends up being a fire starter of sorts for the Grizzlies, I'll take it.
Great game by Ja last night. That moment between he and T is incredible. Right? It's like that's great. I understand how somebody like Ja, or in Ja's position, I understand how all of these athletes, be it Ja, Steph, LeBron, whomever, across sports, it can feel like the world is against you. And when you do something like Ja did last night, putting the team on his back, 27 points in the second half, the game-winning shot, controlling the tempo of the game, making everybody play the way he wanted them to play, not just Grizzlies, but Heat players. Also, you do that, and then you make that type of shot to run and embrace your father, man. That's incredible. Yeah. That's some good stuff. And I was like, yo, that's great. It'll be a dumbass reason for him to get a suspension, though, wouldn't it? He's been warned, hasn't he? So what's the next step after warning?
I would hope the NBA at this point would go fine before suspension.
And what was the warning? Was it, hey, don't? It can't be.
I don't know what the warning was.
It can't be, don't do it anymore. Because you make great points. You brought up whatever the Warriors dude's name is.
So last night we were talking about
and Austin Reeves does it, and everybody does for whatever reason.
Pajemski did this yesterday.
That's whatever this is the 3-point celebration of the era right now. So if everybody is doing it, is it, hey, don't do it towards another player? Hey, don't do it towards an opponent's bench? While Ja is running around doing this, he is pointing at somebody on the Grizzlies bench every single time he does it. And why am I blanking on Lamar Stevens? I do believe is who he's doing it to every single time. And Lamar's doing it back. So if the warning is, hey, don't do it in an opponent's face, don't do it towards the opponent's bench.
And then they play by the rules.
They play by the rules, whatever. The issue that I have is, all right, man, like, you've been warned. Your team is fighting for their playoff lives. Is this a stance you want to take with 4 or 5 games left in the season, and then you catch a suspension because that will determine whether or not your team gets a higher seed or even gets into the playoffs. At a certain point, you got to eat some of this and just stop for a while until you guys get where you need to go, and then you can do it. He performed last night, so all is fine as long as he performs at a high level. But the second he doesn't, these antics, the yelling at referees, the frustration foul that led to the technical foul because he didn't get a call that he wanted, all that stuff people are going to point to, and rightfully so. How focused are you on the game of basketball? How focused are you on winning? How committed are you to winning basketball games? The noise is going to always be there. The noise is always there. You can't let the noise affect your commitment to winning. And if it is, like, what good are you?
He had a great quote to DeMichael Cole last night, asked about if the recent negative comments bothered him. Jaws said, "I'm kind of used to it. I was pretty much a villain for 2 years now. Every little thing. If somebody can say something negative about me, it's going to be out there. I don't care anymore." And I did think the, emergence of that, I don't care anymore. We all do this. I do this. I don't care. Well, you kind of care, but if it leads to that version of Ja, that's the best version of Ja. Chip on the shoulder. I'm gonna go out, prove a point. I'm gonna win this game for my team. I'm gonna make the tough shots. I'm gonna have the little showmanship moments along the way. It's a good space to be. That's the version of Ja where the Grizzlies, whether they're in the play-in tournament, whether they're a lower seed in the playoffs, don't have home court advantage. That's the version of Ja where you're looking at a series and you say, well, as long as you perhaps have the best player on the court on any given night, you have a chance. You have a chance with that kind of play from Ja Morant. And everyone will focus on all the extracurriculars, but over his last 5 games, Ja's averaging 30 points and 7 assists. He has been tremendous coming from the Cavs game before he missed for the 6-game absence with the injury, from the shoulder to the hamstring strain to the hamstring sprain to being out and then coming back. And in the 4 games back, he's been consistent. He's been a tone setter. But I just felt last night was different because even in game winners earlier this season, I'm trying to think of the most joyful, exuberant moments from the Grizzlies. And it was a small gritty last night. It was a baby gritty, but it was there. And his teammates were encouraging him, and they're always going to pick up the phone, and they're always going to do the call 12 action. But even in wins, there was just something missing. I can't really explain it. The game in Dallas, where he does the post-game interview and admits that he got a little help at halftime for the pain, and he just went nuclear in the final minutes of that game against the Mavs and came back. That was close. But it's just been there's been something holding him back. And I felt like last night there was a true shedding of that. I'm not going to let anything hold me back. I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be authentically myself, despite all of this noise that has just been circulating. And I understand where you're coming from on if you get a warning, and especially in this critical time, why antagonize, why purposefully stare the NBA back, purposely stare back at Adam Silver and say, all right, watch me, I'm going to do this again. But I will sit on the fact that it was such an absurd conversation and investigation to begin with. I was all for it last night. I was laughing. Sometimes I think Ja Morant's one of the most underrated funny players. You might not think it's funny, and I don't mean you. I mean the collective outside of the city of Memphis. CJ might not think it's funny. I think for the most part, Memphis Grizzlies basketball fans last night, that's what they wanted to see. And there's a galvanizing effort, and that's momentum. Momentum's weird. Momentum's not a stat. Momentum doesn't pop up in a box score. Momentum doesn't pop up in the standings as we're figuring out where the Grizzlies are going to situate themselves going into the Western Conference playoffs. But momentum's real. And moments like last night can be built upon and can create some sort of a surge for a team, for a city, for a moment, and for a player in Ja Morant. Outside of Ja, Scottie Pippen Jr. was excellent in the first half of that game. They went down early, and Ja doesn't really come alive until the second half. Scottie Pippen Jr. was the one keeping them afloat early on, both in his shot creation and also in playmaking for this team, being a reliable playmaker, being a reliable backup point guard. Jaren was iffy last night. It did feel like Bam Adebayo. There was a personal nature of it. I'm going to get back at you for what you did to me here at FedEx Forum last month.
Yeah, Jaren went off last month. And so if you're the Heat, what's your game plan going to be? And this is what this Grizzlies team is. It is, all right, who are you going to take away? Ja or Jaren? And then the other one needs to go out there and perform. And last night we saw Ja Morant did just that. The Heat made a concerted effort
to make everything very, very difficult for Jaren. As Jaren is going into moves, they're running doubles at him. But when Jaren catches the ball on the block, they're running doubles at him. They're doing everything they can to get the ball out of Jaren's hand. And so I was pleased by Jaren's performance. I know if you do the box score thing, it's 13 points. What is this? But no, watch Jaren go out there and play. He made the right decisions with the basketball on the offensive end, and then defensively, he was getting deflections. Jaren got a couple of steals, if I recall correctly. Jaren was a rim protector. He
Big
got
time blocks late in the game.
Like that.
Hit that big three.
When your number's called, make that shot,
Right.
and Jaren made that shot.
And we know there's not a ton of players on this team where you feel particularly confident.
3 players
with
on this
that
team
shot.
that you feel comfortable with.
I'll put 2 at this exact moment.
Well, and then, so here's the other piece
This
of
was
that.
like 1 of 9 from 3
Here's the
last
other
night.
piece of that. At a certain point, the Heat aren't a good team. They were able to take Jaren away. Ja stepped up. When you play a good team defensively will say, okay, we can slow Ja down and we can take Jaren away. And that's when you need Desmond Bane to step up and fill that third spot. Where it is, okay, you got your best perimeter player on Ja, you got your best interior player on Jaren. I'm the one that's going to take advantage now. You guys need to be focusing on me because I've got the mismatch. And that's when you'll need Desmond Bane to step up and fill in.
I really was resting in the Heat are not a good team. Like, I was trying to take some of that air out of it because they'd won 6 straight. But if you look at who they'd beaten, it wasn't quite as impressive. When you look into the players who were available in the games that they had won, like their win over the Warriors came without Steph Curry. And we now know when Steph and Jimmy Butler play together, they're nearly unbeatable. They're now 19-2 after the Warriors went over the Lakers last night. Their win over the Celtics came without Kristaps Porzingis and without Al Horford and without Drew Holiday. And then the other teams they beat along the way were kind of like bottom feeders. However, I do think the Heat are a better team than their 35 and now 43 record would suggest. And they were without Wiggins last night. They were without Kevin Love, who's at least something still at this point in his career. But Tyler Hero, that third quarter from Tyler Hero was mighty impressive. And with him taking on all the more responsibility in the absence of Jimmy Butler, I was impressed with him, 35 points last night. I love Kel'el Ware. I know he gets called a pigeon at the end of the night, and I'm still not quite sure what a pigeon is. What is a pigeon to you, CJ?
Didn't we have a song? We had a song about
Is
no
there?
pigeons. Yeah.
Okay.
There's dudes singing about women, no scrubs, right? Like,
Yeah.
and then they tell you the dude version is
no pigeons?
No pigeons. Yeah. It was a good song.
I
It
just
was a
looked at
banger.
it as like a little like scram out of here kind of bird. It was a funny quote from John. It was like a deadpan, calling Kel'el Ware a pigeon. I loved him in the draft. I love him still. He is athletic. He has a whole lot of potential. He gets beat on the last play. It is what it is. But overall, I think he's a good addition for the Heat. Zach Edey had 13 rebounds last night. He now has double-digit rebounds in 3 of his last 4 games. Why are you crossing your arms like this, CJ? Are you willing to budge? No. Okay, I didn't think so.
He stands in the middle of the paint, allowing Ware to get all of the wide open 3-pointers. Just come outside a little bit, and he doesn't because he can't. When they play a good team, he's going to post up in that paint on the defensive end, and the other team is just going to do dribble handoffs. There'll be no help, and they'll get wide open threes for Anthony Edwards or Steph Curry or whomever the hell they want wide open threes for, because Zach Edey cannot move laterally on the perimeter. Now, if he's going to rebound like that, fine, you take the good with the bad. But he hasn't been rebounding like that, and I'm not sure if you can count on him to consistently rebound like that. So while he had an okay game, I will say, still a big liability, and not big as in 7-4, but big as in like you can target him.
I will say every rebound counts, and he's been much better on the boards. That is what someone of his size should do. That is a part of the meaningful nature of what he can bring to this team. Also, setting stronger screens. You want to see more of that. Hey, before we get to Lang Whitaker, shout out Tuomas Iisalo. That was his first NBA win as acting head coach of this Memphis Grizzlies team, and I did want to shout out him for the minutes distribution last night, for one, with Jaren Jackson Jr. playing 37 minutes, Desmond Bane playing 36 minutes, John Morant playing 32 minutes, Santi Aldama had 30 off the bench. He stuck with that 8-man rotation. And Lamar Stevens played just 2 minutes, just like the other night we saw a handful of minutes from Marvin Bagley. But ultimately, we are down to 8. And I will be very curious. Vince Williams Jr. has been sick the last 2 games. I'll be curious if he moves back in, if there is an interchangeability with him and Luke Kennard. But the biggest coaching decision by Tuomas Iisalo last night was letting John Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. play while in foul trouble. Like, I thought the trust that showed, and we will take a break. You had the music going, and it's 8:24.
No, I played the music at the wrong time, so keep going.
Okay.
I'll play the music again, and then we have to take the break.
Okay.
We got to do pre-show meetings a bit better. We didn't even
we're
talk
not very
about
good
that.
at it.
No.
It's okay. We were busy trying to figure out how we're getting DJ Zirk in studio. So, to our credit, we had other things to discuss. But with the Ja third foul, which was it was a sheerly dumb foul. I was worried at that point when he has the shove on Alec Burks and like the emotions felt like they were going borderline, oh no, this could be a runaway train that doesn't come back and the fans are booing him and it looks like there's some energy between him and the fans in Miami. I thought we might see Ja get ejected last night after he gets the tech. And then he ends up getting that fourth foul with like 7 minutes left in the third quarter and you're like, he's just starting to cook. Like he's getting his rhythm in him. And he goes back at the game. And I thought that was such a testament to the trust. And I guess it's like a necessary trust at that point because what's your alternative? But so many people have been calling for the what's your alternative? Your best player sits on the bench. And the same thing goes for Jaren Jackson Jr., who picks up his fifth foul on the push on Tyler Hero. But Tuomas Iisalo talked about it after the game, like, damned if you do, damned if you don't. If your best players are sitting on the bench, it's the same thing as them fouling out of the game. And so to play those guys and for them not to end up fouling out last night, if it had gone into overtime, it could have been a tricky situation to navigate, but the gamble pays off. And it was a big win for the crowd that screams, don't foul your player out of the game before they foul out themselves by simply sitting them during critical minutes.
You did the same thing against the Warriors. Jaren was in foul trouble, 5 fouls in the fourth quarter, and just, all right, you're going to play until you foul out. And unfortunately, in that game, Jaren did foul out, if I remember correctly.
Like 1:30.
Yeah, I've been asking for a shortened rotation since January, and unfortunately, some injuries have led to it getting shortened. The Brandon Clark thing immediately comes to mind. Vince Williams Jr. right now as well. But you pick your 8 and run with them. There are severe flaws on this team. You're not going to fix them by running 10, 11 dudes.
Yeah.
Just run with the 7 or 8 that you got, that you feel the most comfortable with. Run with them and then just take them for the flaws that they have. Scottie Pippen Jr. played a really good game last night. Hit open threes, hit tough shots, made good decisions with the basketball. He also had a ton of mistakes. Zach Edey played a fine game last night, rebounding the way that you want somebody of his size to rebound and being a force inside. He made a bunch of mistakes, and he was somebody who couldn't get out there, who you didn't want out there on the perimeter, which led to open heat threes. You know, and as a team that struggled to defend the three-point line, that can be really, really frustrating. But to your point, what are your other options? Right. What else are you going to do? If those are the dudes you feel the most comfortable in, run them until their tongues fall out. You can't keep doing rotations of 11, 12 dudes. That's just not going to lend itself to winning basketball. It'll lend itself to developmental basketball where people are getting incrementally better, but it's too late in the season to be worried about that. You're in a tight playoff race as well. All these games matter. Like it's time. It's beyond time. Cut that down. Also, something I've been clamoring for them to do, slow the pace down. Mm-hmm. And now that they're running more pick and roll, the pace is slow enough so that some of those defensive liabilities aren't being taken advantage of at near as high of a rate. The game last night, I looked up to start the second half. I was like, holy hell. It's 50-40 something? The Warriors have 45 in the first damn quarter.
I was like, they're not going to get to 100 tonight.
Some of that is, okay, very clearly Steph Curry is a special player, so he's not out there. Some of that is that, and so the Heat aren't near as good an offensive team as the Warriors are. But how many times have we seen bad offensive teams go out there and light the Grizzlies up in a quarter? Yeah. A bunch this season. Why? Because the pace is too fast. It's great to play fast. Mm-hmm. I understand that you want to get up and down the court, but if it's sacrificing your defense,
for what?
Stop doing it. What's the point of it? And so they slowed it down, and some of that is by force because you're running more pick and roll for John Morant. But it allowed for them defensively to look semi-okay.
Yeah.
And that's good as well.
All right, we'll take a quick break. We will come back. Lang Whitaker. No?
I didn't play the music. Who's the producer here? You or me? You right. You are zesty. Well, not zesty. Zesty could mean multiple things. You got a little spice to you.
It's zesty.
No.
What does zesty mean?
Well, zesty. Some people say zest fest.
My husband told me I was zesty this
Yeah,
morning.
you got
Said
a spice
no one
to
can
you.
tell me shit today.
No, you got a little cumin in you right now.
'Cause I got a spray tan.
Cumin, a little red pepper.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got.
All the women know. You men don't understand. As a woman, you get a spray tan, you're a different kind of. I'm in a wedding this weekend. I got my spray tan last night.
You men don't know. Like I'm not.
No, you don't.
I'm chocolate also. So I
No,
don't.
you men don't know.
I don't understand that.
You men don't know. It's not like Chris got a spray tan for our wedding. Some do. Some men get spray tans for their wedding so that their pasty wife doesn't suddenly turn into a bronzed bombshell straight off the beach and the man is left looking like a glow-in-the-dark pasty.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's true.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's true. But you don't understand. And that's okay. I'm saying the you collective.
Lang is
Can we
coming
take a
on.
break? Is Lang coming up next?
The music is playing now,
Okay,
Jessica.
I can't hear. My thing
Oh,
fell
yeah,
out of my
the
ear,
music-
you
the
know,
music
so
is playing.
sometimes
I
it just gets
apologize.
lost in there. But Lang Whitaker is going to join us. Thank you. On the
welcome.
other side, we'll continue the conversation about the Grizzlies, get his take on last night's win, if it makes him feel any different. Also, a big weekend ahead for the Grizzlies as they have a game against the Detroit Pistons tomorrow night. We'll get into all that with Lang when we come back.
We touched on this earlier, the panel here, about what really has been the mainstay of the Grizzlies, and that's Jaren Jackson Jr. Trip has just been awesome.
He's posting guys up. He's stronger than he's ever been. He's physical, and he's scoring all type of ways.
Hey, Grizzlies fans, be sure to tune in to Grizzbeat, where the panel and I break down all things Grizzlies and take a look at the rest of the NBA as well. The show is live every Wednesday, 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Can't wait. It's time to get it popping.
It's going to be crazy. The fans are going to be loud. We need just energy.
We're going to need, the form rocking. We're going to need, everybody in Memphis to be out there to come to support.
When the fans are good, we're good. Simple as that.
A Bane 3, yes sir! Desmond Bane with ice water in his veins.
We'll ride the energy together.
Grammy, Academy, and Golden Globe award-winning superstar, Mary J. Blige, live in Memphis. The For My Fans Tour, live at FedEx Forum Saturday, April 19th, with special guests Neo and Mario. Get tickets now at livenation.com. The iconic Mary J. Blige, for one night only.
There's no substitute for experience, the knowledge gained from having been there before, and the passion to share what you know to make everyone around you better. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st, and you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
Tony was the defensive guy, but Zebo was the offensive guy. So you could speak to this. It's way worse when you're getting doubled, right?
You got triple. I had went through that for when I was in Portland. You had me on the team. You got triple. You hear me, Rose? You can't talk about those. You got to talk about triples.
You got triple teams.
This man was scoring on 3 dudes.
Swing, T.A.
The Chris Vernon Show, live on weekdays at noon on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
Debo traded from San Francisco to the Commanders for a 5th-round pick. There's no other sport where you would get a player of his ilk for a 5th round pick.
Over under total yards for Debo. If they set it at 1,000, you think he hits that over?
Total yards?
Total yards from scrimmage, total yards.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
The Odds Couple, live at 2 p.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app. It is Friday. That means it's time to be joined by Lang Whitaker in studio. And
what's
Lang,
up?
how you doing this morning?
I'm doing better than I was the last week.
I know.
Well, at least with the Grizzlies.
I was going to say, the Braves can't win a game, but the Grizzlies got you covered.
The Braves are 0-7, and they announced yesterday they bought a 34-acre office park.
Oh.
And there's a lot of wondering why we couldn't get a middle reliever, but we could afford a 34-acre office park, which I feel like it's a pretty valid question. As an owner of the Braves, I have to tell the fans, I understand your concern, but there's certain financial things that we need to do from time to time.
As an owner. How many teams did that?
I don't know.
I met someone the other weekend who was a part owner of the St. Louis Cardinals in the
really?
same
I didn't know they had
frame
that.
that you are
Yeah,
an owner of the Atlanta Braves.
Aren't the Packers publicly?
Oh, I'm sorry. They were Packers, not St. Louis Cardinals. That's
I don't
what
think
they
the
were.
Cardinals are,
Not the Cardinals.
because Fish would own
yes,
part of the Cardinals.
Yes, it was the Green Bay Packers. Thank
Yeah,
you.
the Packers have forever have
Yes.
been like publicly, I think fully publicly owned. The Braves are not like fully publicly owned. You can just buy and sell the stock, but yeah.
The Grizzlies got a win last night.
How about that?
Thank the good Lord, baby Jesus. I could not handle coming back in
I
here.
did watch Righteous Gemstones afterwards.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Are you all caught up?
Yeah.
I've only watched the first 2 episodes.
It's great.
But I did see one scene between the actress who plays Judy Gemstone and Megan Mullally where they were
Yes.
like, if you have this woman who plays Judy
Yeah.
Gemstone, I will refer to her as Judy Gemstone for the
Yeah.
rest of my life. If you're running circles around Megan Mullally, like, you're generational at this point.
She was on Vice Principals, that woman.
Oh, I didn't
Did you ever
see
see that?
that?
That was Danny McBride and Walton Goggins.
Okay,
it was
so
sort of an
she's part of the
underrated
team.
Yeah, that was how they found her, supposedly. I was reading
Okay.
an interview with Danny McBride, but that's sort of an underrated show that's it's on Max. You can go back and
Okay.
watch Vice Principals. I think there's 2 seasons of it,
Okay.
but that one's great too.
Well, you did get to watch the Grizzlies win before that.
That was awesome.
What did you wake up feeling? What did you feel in the moment watching the Grizzlies win, and then how did you wake up thinking about
I
it?
tweeted at halftime. I would say something like, "Oh, the Grizzlies can't play worse in the second half," but I was afraid they were going to be like, "Hold my beer."
Mm-hmm.
They were so bad in the first half. Turnovers. It was like the list of everything that's been
Yes.
wrong for the last 3
The
months.
first quarter felt like a time capsule of,
Yeah.
if you looked back on this Grizzlies
like a highlight
season,
film.
like a low light of
Yeah.
this is why this team has fallen to a place where, as of yesterday, they were in 8th. I know they're back up into 6th, but
all that went wrong. And in the second half, I was like, what are we're probably going to turn things around, likely, right? Like at some point it turns around. Maybe it's the next game, but hopefully it's this game. At halftime, things get better, and they did.
Yeah.
We started playing better. The Heat cooled off a little bit. Bam Adebayo, scored 9 straight to start the game, and then kind of got held down a little bit.
at one point, wasn't it Kalel and Tyler Hero
Had
had
all the
accounted
points
for
in the third quarter,
like almost as many points as the Grizzlies had as a team?
Yeah, Hero got going. And that's where you want Vince to be able to throw him out there.
You want
and
who?
Huh?
You want Vince?
Anybody.
The idea of Vince.
Oh, because the idea of Vince would
The potential
the
of
idea of
Vince.
Vince absolutely would go out
I mean,
there.
I'd rather have Vince than Luke.
The
guarded.
Grizzlies fan fiction version of Vince.
You don't have good options.
I would rather have Vince.
I'd
than
rather have
Luke
Vince
in
than
that
Luke
se-
guard him.
If Luke is going to be airballing threes, I'm sorry, but
Yeah.
I would rather have
Because
Vince.
Vince
than
isn't
Luke.
going to airball a three
Well,
or
no,
send
he'll
one
hit.
off the backboard.
I'm sorry, he'll hit the side of the backboard.
Okay,
There's a
all right.
difference.
Vince will swing the
There's
ball.
an attitude difference.
Vince will pass the ball. I mean, at least I would think with Vince playing defense, you at least have a higher ceiling than Luke guarding somebody on the perimeter.
Yes.
My point with everything that is being said and that will be said, don't have a whole lot of good options. You're in trouble. So just run with the people that run with the 8 and then figure it out from there and hope that John Morant, Jaren, and Dez can be special.
That's what Coach Iisalo seems to be doing. Did they kept pronouncing it Iisalo?
I was like, where's the H?
Yeah, I don't-
where's the H in this?
and,
But
like,
they also still can't get Santi Aldama's
They
name
get everything
correct.
wrong.
So like,
They also
the
said,
Europeans
at
they
one
really
point-
struggle with.
At one point, Stan Van Gundy said John Morant's arguing with people in the stands, and I was like, no, he's asking the coaches for a replay.
I don't think any There are no new Stan Van Gundy fans in Memphis this morning.
No, I don't think so.
Like, that was a tough. I saw somebody say, "What are we watching the Miami Heat team broadcast at one point?" Because
he wasn't he a Heat coach at one point.
Well, and I think emphasis on as a coach. I do think there comes this attitude when a coach sees another coach fired, and I don't know if this is. I'm speaking out of strict hypotheticals and guessing games. But a coach like Stan Van Gundy sees the Grizzlies fire Taylor Jenkins with 9 games left in the season, and there's a little bit of an axe to grind from the coaching community.
All of them rally the wagons around coaches who they feel were aggrieved, because in Stan Van Gundy's mind, it's like, oh no, Taylor, I lived that once with the Heat and again with the Orlando Magic.
And
right?
the Pistons.
I lived that. Did they?
Oh yeah, like he had a long deal with the Pistons, and I think he only lasted a year. Like I mean, he barely lasted in Detroit. My takeaway was hearing the way he was talking about John and stuff. I was like, well, I wonder why players on other teams wouldn't get along with Stan Van Gundy.
It's not that he just said it once. He said it over and over and over. But that does bring us to the job.
But they also said at the end of the game, congrats to Coach Iisalo for his first win.
Yes.
And I was like, no, he won the game he coached back in November.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
When he coached
With
against the Lakers.
game.
Yeah.
Like, so that would have been.
It wasn't his first win.
His first win as interim head coach.
He was the interim head coach that night.
Wasn't he
right?
Do we call interim head coach when they step? I don't think we call them interim head coach when they step in.
The permanent head coach.
I think we call them acting head coach.
There's only 2 choices.
I think we're getting into the linguistic battle of what it is.
It wasn't his first game winning.
It was not his first game winning, but his first game winning since taking over. But yes, you are factually correct.
Sure.
He did have a win.
Because I was thinking, like, when he finally
yes.
wins a game, they're going to go in the locker room with the water bottles and all that, right? But no, they did that last time. You remember when they beat the Lakers here? They all celebrated and all that stuff. So.
Yeah. I've really appreciated listening to Tuomas Iisalo, not Iisalo, speak. And his press conference last night. We actually got an audio file
of him saying his name texted to us.
I got 3
I did too.
I
got
had 3
2
text threads making sure. And I filled in for Eric on the pregame interview with him for the last game here at FedEx Forum. And I asked him, because even with us all getting the same audio file, there were slight variations of how we were all saying it. And it comes with the inflection on he said it's a Finnish thing, but it's the Iisalo instead of Iisalo. But anything's better than Iisalo.
My wife is Isabel, but her parents call her Isa. And so I remember Iisalo as the way I say it, like Isa. Iisalo.
Iisalo.
Isabel. As one of his largest mentors, as one of Coach
what was that
Isalo's,
like hearing him mention Slam?
Stunning.
Yeah.
No, well, the first time,
but specifically,
I met him in December at some point. I hadn't met him yet. He came up to me and he goes, I know who you are. I read Slam my whole life growing up. And he named several articles I had written in Slam 15 years ago. I didn't even remember half these things. I'm like, oh, okay, great. Yeah, neat. And he was like, I said, where did you get Slam? And he said there was one bookstore in Helsinki that he would go order it every month as a kid, because it was the only place he could get it. And I guess it's pre-internet the way it is now. And so it was really the only place he could month to month follow the NBA and follow the players, storylines, all that stuff. But then the other night in the press conference, someone asked him about his influences and how he learned about basketball. And the first person he mentioned was me. And he was like, one of the reasons was this guy in the back row right here. And Fish was so angry. He was like, I can't believe he named you first of all the things. It was really kind of weird. I was like, I did a post on Instagram yesterday where I was like, I sat at this desk at the end of a hallway in the dark for many years and just wrote words, and they kind of just went out into the world and you don't know what happens to them. And then for an NBA head coach to be like, this was one of my biggest influences, you're like, oh my gosh, things matter, words matter.
It's true. And they come back, and you never know when you're going to write something that has an influence that then gets brought back up years and years later.
Weird.
He had a couple good quotes last night, him talking about not sitting Jaren and also with Ja, trusting them down the stretch. He said it's better to prepare than to predict, which was a bit of a bar. But then I thought one of the best quotes was from Ja Morant about
I saw that,
him. And he said, as it pertains to Tuomas Iisalo. He comes in and says what he wants to do, but he also bases it off us. The one thing he preaches the most in trust. He wants to have trust in us. He wants us to have trust in him. Then he wants us to have trust in each other out on the floor. If there's something that as a team we do not agree on, he's able to actually listen and see what we think we should do to allow us to win. So it seems like there is this collaborative approach.
Yeah.
And a part of that, I think, is stepping into he was already on the staff, so he's been around this group. So there is a level of trust that's already established, right? But then also the understanding of being thrust into the interim head coach role with 9 games left.
Yeah.
You have to have a collaborative approach on
but
this.
he also knows like what pisses the guys off.
Yes, he knows their personalities.
But he knows if they come to him and say, "Hey, we want to do this," he can probably be like, "You know what? This happened 2 months ago. A decision was made the other way, and it didn't work." So he can be like, when Josh says, I have foul trouble, I'm fine. I can play.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fine. Do it. Let's see. Let's let you go. I think there's also something to be said that, he played at a very high level in Europe. And so he has experience from that side of it too, and understands, I think, from the player standpoint. I also thought there was a player meeting that there was stuff written about after Coach Jenkins was let go.
That Saturday morning between shoot-around and the Lakers game.
And they said like Jaren, Ja, and Dez kind of helmed this player meeting. They talked about it. And they said Dez said to everybody, let's give him a chance. He's a very smart guy. Let's listen to him and see what he's doing, and let's kind of give it a shot. And so I think the players understand, that this is not just, it's not like they just hired me to coach the team. They have some guy who won like at a very high level across Europe the last couple of years, and they were like, all right, let's do something here.
We have somebody in the chat who just said some of us in Helsinki are watching this thing
Let's go.
now. So much easier than the TI experience in the 1990s. I don't know what that
TI.
Well, Tuomas Iisalo.
Oh, I thought you meant like the rapper.
No, we're calling it the TI era. I was actually a little disappointed because I wanted for the last 3 games predicting to do highlights after his first win as interim head coach, not as acting head coach.
Yes.
But I was going to start with TI or with a still shot of Tuomas and then write something TI related. But it just didn't work because yesterday was the Jaw story and it just took over everything, just like he took over the second half of the game.
I want to call him the finisher with 2 ends.
I like that.
2 ends.
The finisher.
That's pretty good, right?
That is pretty good.
Yeah.
Or they put other teams in Helsinki.
Yeah.
We could continue going
I like that
on
the
and
chat,
on.
though, the people are watching. That's great.
I know. We go all around the globe. We've had a big Japan
Worldwide.
base with
Can
Yuki
we-
Kawamura.
maybe,
And also, the excitement of Yuki last night. We
Yes.
haven't talked enough about Yuki
Yeah.
Kawamura in these trying
Vibes
times.
are good with Yuki on the bench.
When Yuki is able to have a night like last night, it's a win for all of us. Like,
I
he
like
looked so excited.
I saw the screenshot of Yuki doing the call 12
Yes.
before the shot went in.
I think he did it. I think Jalen did it
He's
too.
doing this
as it was
over on the
going.
bench as the ball's bouncing around on the rim.
I did love Jaren in the back of the shot. The shot of Ja holding out the jersey 12 in
great.
Memphis, and Jaren's in the back. It reminded me very much of the All-Star weekend photo of the two of them on the Rising Stars when Ja had his dunk, and Jaren's in the back like gassing him up, and Ja's up in the air. It's just one of those like iconic Grizzlies photos.
Or in Miami, the photo of LeBron and Dwayne Wade.
So many
where
people are trying to
LeBron's dunking
recreate
and
that
Wade
this
does
year.
the thing. Like,
Not this year, this
that's
week.
in the same arena.
And well, everyone said, not everybody, but people were trying to make a thing of the LeBron dunk against the Grizzlies and then Luka being in it. And they're like, oh, look, history repeats itself. And there was some other one this week, too, that popped off. But I did want to ask you about Ja, and he was tremendous last night. And I sit in a space of, I could really care less about the I know everyone wants to talk about the gestures. I just care that he had
Finger
confidence
guns?
and that he had
Yeah.
fun. Finger guns, coming off of being warned, whatever that means. We don't know the nature
I don't
of
understand
the
how that
warning.
gesture is finger guns.
Yeah, because I know.
I don't know what it's. I don't know what the thing is, but it's
a full gun.
It's this thing. I don't know. Like I don't know.
Well, this is absolutely that.
Yeah, but
I can
it's not
understand.
that. It's like his hand sideways.
Well, that's not what he did to Hield, and that's not what they were doing in the Warriors game. It was this that they were doing. So again, we don't know what the warning
the
was.
under?
He wasn't
It's two
under.
hands.
He was there on
I thought it was under.
He was. Maybe I'm mistaken, but it sure as hell looked like he was there on it.
I think it was under.
But
I feel like we're in
either
Bring
way
It
it
On
goes,
when the guy is like, these aren't spirit fingers. These are spirit fingers. These aren't finger guns. These are finger guns.
Either way it goes, there was no. We don't know what the warning was. He didn't.
Sure, but there was no question of what was
He
happening
didn't
last
point
night.
it at anybody last night.
at an opponent. He didn't point it at an opponent's coach. He didn't point it at a fan. He didn't point it at the opponent's bench. He always made sure that it stayed this way, right here, and it was pointed at Lamar Stevens every single time he did it.
Yes.
Well, you know what's going to happen when the Grizzlies come home and the first Grizzlies player makes a three-pointer.
All the fans are going to do it. The entire arena's going to do it.
So.
Okay, what does that have to do with anything? The entire arena, if the NBA wanted to suspend the entire arena of Grizzlies fans,
well, that would be silly.
Fine.
Just like this whole thing is silly.
Fine. It won't cost the Grizzlies any games because you still have Ja Morant. If the NBA decides to suspend Ja Morant for being a little dick, then yeah, that's going to be a problem.
You don't think they'll suspend him?
No.
I don't either. Maybe a fine.
If they suspend him, then let's also suspend LeBron James, Stephen Curry, all the other
Brandon
players who've done
Pajemski.
it. Yeah.
Last night, that's the thing. Like, I do think there is a responsibility from sports media, and Ja's the name, and I get it. It comes with the price of being one of the faces of the league. But like you said, we have had history of LeBron James doing finger guns. There are pictures. There are still
Steph
shots.
Curry.
We have not a face of the league, but the Dyson Daniels video that was posted from the official Atlanta Hawks account this season. And last night in a game right after, on the same network, on TNT, Brandon Pajemski does finger guns. The team, the Golden State Warriors, who this whole thing pops off with in the first place between Ja and Buddy Hield. So if you don't look at that and say, all right, well, he's suspended too, I don't know what we're doing.
Quick question.
I really don't.
Just real quick question. Did any of those players, after getting into it with an NBA team, go and put dots on that team's bus? Allegedly.
It was alleged.
Allegedly.
I would also point out on
wait,
TNT.
wait. Did anybody on that you guys mentioned decide to go to a strip club and slow dance with his gun on live? All right,
if you want to take it to an even further conversation, we live in the United States of America where everybody has guns and everybody talks about guns and everybody worships guns. And I think it's a little hypocritical to sit here and say, oh, we draw the line at finger gun celebrations or finger arm celebrations or whatever you want to call it.
Is Adam Silver the president? Is he in Congress? Is he running a professional sports league?
He runs a professional sports league with
so then don't talk to me about everybody else in the United States.
Why you would target one of the most marketable players in your sport and the continuation of trying to put him in a position where it feels as if there is more heat for Ja Morant than it is for other players.
You target him because he's the one drawing the bullseye on his chest. That's why he's being targeted.
Why can you get NBA skins and be an NBA player in Fortnite then? It's a game where you shoot people.
Okay, fine.
Like, I mean, the NBA signed off on that.
All right, fine. They're saying, hey, don't dance with guns, Ja Morant. And when you do that, you put the target on your chest. You put the target on your back. I'm not going to sit up here and make excuses for Ja Morant's behavior. He's got to, at a certain point, take accountability, take responsibility, or not. I really don't give a damn as long as you go out there and perform on the court. I couldn't care any less about it.
I think it's insane to ask him.
I care about the babying of Ja.
This isn't a baby. This is somebody who, I just know how I am, and I can't be hypocritical in this situation because if I had what has...
You've been doing finger guns forever.
I have been. I'm a big finger gunner. I don't know if you know, I said yesterday, ever since I saw John Travolta do it in Greece, I was like, I'm throwing these around all the time. Or Shooter McGavin, that's one of my biggest inspirations on the golf course. That's what we're doing all the time. Like, for me, it just gets to this point where, and I want to be crystal clear. Like, if there's a new viewer on the show, I hate guns. I have shot a gun one time in my life. It was at a duck hunting event with Chris's family, and I was so afraid of it, I almost blew my arm back into my mouth and knocked all my teeth out. Like, I am not somebody who is sitting here in typical times fighting for somebody to do it. I hate gun celebrations.
Same.
But I just think if you are only looking at one person, it's pointless and it's dumb. And the fact that he sat a suspension for those incidents. And you can feel however you want in 2025 if that suspension was too long or at the time, if it was just right. I don't think it has aged particularly well as you look back on it. You just see how an onslaught of media attention and the policing of one person turns into this guy is a bad guy.
Yeah.
And all I know is for last night, I saw somebody who kind of tried to shed that all off and reminded people, I'm one of the best players in the NBA. I'm one of the best closers in the NBA. And I'm going to have fun with it. And that's all I can do.
How did he try and shed it all off last night?
He smiled. I know that sounds so stupid, But he had an air of playing with fun.
But even like last
if he
night,
wanted to shut it off, he wouldn't have done the gesture.
I think that's him having fun. That's him being like, screw this.
It's also him doing what everyone else in the league does. Like we just gave you 10 players who do it, and it's apparently okay for them.
And of the 10 players, you didn't name a single person who did anything has any type of issue with guns
that we know about.
I
would also
and
say,
I watched Jackson Hayes play in the next game, and I have a hell of a lot more issue with that situation.
Yeah.
And I know it becomes like straw man and ad
Apples
hominem
and
and apples
yeah.
and oranges. But I can't shake that. You know,
But I also
can't
watched the
play
game
this
in.
like league of morality, league of family values, and I'm watching Jackson Hayes play basketball.
I watched the game in, and the TNT announcers gave me 40 gun references as they went through the Grizzly highlights.
They did it at half too.
Yeah, that's okay, I guess.
Candace Parker was pissed at halftime.
Yeah, but then she joined in.
And then she
afterward.
joined in.
Yeah,
they all
it's a lot
joined.
of
Even
fun.
Vince joined in on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was a little aggressive at the end of it,
Yeah.
if we're being completely honest. But do you see, before we wrap this up, because what actually matters here is
Grizzlies
the Grizzlies
won.
won. They're in 6th in the Western Conference, and it just shows the volatility of the standings at this point, right? Like every win. You say it all season. It's an 82-game season, but sometimes it gets lost in the denseness of it. Every game matters, but it really does here down the stretch, and the Warriors stay ahead of you because of their win. But they play the Nuggets tonight, which either way, that's big for the Grizzlies, whether the Nuggets fall with a loss to the Warriors or the Warriors fall back behind you. Do you foresee this being the start of a moment? I know it's hard to forecast.
I mean, I was looking at teams like the Bulls, who struggled for the first half of the season, then have been really good the last couple of weeks. The Lakers, who were kind of up and down and gotten hot. You know, that's the nature of being a team in the NBA. You're down and then you're up. You're down and then you're up. And the very best teams are the ones who were able to kind of ride above it and just kind of be steady throughout. This Grizzlies team's had some high moments. They've had some low moments. And the low moments are so recent that it's hard for us to kind of get over those things.
Yeah.
But hopefully this is that case where they start kind of figuring things out. I thought in that Golden State game here, and to a lesser extent the Boston game, we saw them start to kind of figure it out. And you saw them start to kind of turn the corner. There was 30 seconds at a time, a minute at a time, where they were playing like the old Grizzlies. They were getting up and down the court, and the ball was flying around. They were making threes and creating turnovers and like all that stuff. But they weren't able to sustain it for the whole game. And I thought last night, first half, they struggled, but they stuck around. They hung in the game. And then we kind of saw them, I think, in that fourth quarter. When it was close in the fourth quarter, I was like, oh, boy, this is going to be it. Like, this is where we decide.
Yeah.
And you were able to call 12.
And that's always a good thing to be able to call. And you are reminded, if you have Ja, if you have Jaren, if you have Desmond Bane, like you still have a shot in this thing.
Oh, against anybody.
Yeah. So we'll see how it continues. Grizzlies Pistons tomorrow night, and hopefully.
Grizzlies what?
Pistons.
Oh, okay. I thought you said positions.
Grizzlies Pistons. I
that
put an H in
Ariana
it, like
Grande?
Ishalo.
I got to. I'm hosting Gary Paris's show
Yeah, I know, I'm
today,
gonna see you
and so
again.
you come in there, and we're gonna talk about.
Can we not talk about the gun
let's talk
gesture?
about. How about Final Four? Women's Final Four. It's tonight, right? Yeah.
It is. Thank you for remembering.
Of course.
Thank you.
Who's in it? South Carolina?
Oh my gosh. South Carolina, UConn,
Iowa?
Texas, and UCLA.
I'm just kidding.
Not Iowa, please. All right, we got to take a break because
Yeah.
we got DJ Zirk coming in studio. He's going to perform at Riverbeat coming up next month. Riverbeat is May 2nd through 4th, back on the river for a second straight year. DJ Zirk, one of the Memphis OGs who are going to be performing on a special stage down there on the river. We'll get into it with DJ Zirk when we come back.
Let's face it, there's a lot of trash talk in basketball, but the great teams let their performance do the talking. Like Ford F-150 with Pro Power on board, a class-exclusive industry-first feature that turns your truck into a mobile generator and leaves the competition speechless. Ford F-150, official truck of the Grizzlies. Greatness starts here at your Mid-South Ford dealer. Class is full-size pickups under 8,500 pounds, GVWR.
Kroger shoppers and Grizz fans, one exclusive last-minute discounted ticket deals texted straight to you during the Grizzlies 2024-2025 season. Sign up with the new Kroger Buzzer Beater deal. Fans can sign up by texting Grizz to 636-479 or visit your local Kroger store in the Delta Division and scan the QR code. By signing up, you agree to receive recurring automated promotional and personalized marketing text messages from the Memphis Grizzlies. Consent is not a condition of any purchase. Message frequency varies. Message and data rates may apply.
When it's all on the line, you turn to the strong, the stable, the unwavering. To those with a history of raising their performance to meet the moment. It's true in basketball. It's true in banking. Grizzlies Checking from Pinnacle. Play hard. Bank easy. Open a Grizzlies checking account with at least $100 and a recurring direct deposit by August 31st. And you could receive a $200 direct deposit bonus into your account. Details at grizzliesbanking.com. Member FDIC.
Double your chances to win all month long in March with 2 big promotions. On Fridays, embrace the madness and win a share of $150,000 in cash and free play. On Saturdays, starting March 8th, go for the gold and win your share of up to $10,000 in cash and free play in the 80K Fool's Gold giveaway. Enjoy live entertainment all month long and play for your chance to win big in March only at Southland Casino Hotel. Must be 21 or up. Play responsibly. For help quitting, call 800-522-4700.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing compares to catching your Grizzlies IRL. And that all starts with buying tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Ticketmaster gets you to the game so you can catch every highlight. Put that jersey collection to use for the next game and get Grizzlies tickets at Ticketmaster. Whether they're here at FedEx Forum or on the road, Ticketmaster's got your back when it comes to scoring tickets. And there's no better brag than saying you saw it live.
I see people who look like me and were born probably in the same decade as me, watching all of these young people jump into the transfer portal and saying, it's ridiculous. You got to stop thinking about this like it's a normal college experience. It is not. You know what the priority is? Maximize your earning potential for every year of eligibility you have left. That's what this is about now. These are jobs.
The Gary Parrish Show, live on weekdays at 10 a.m. on YouTube at Grind City Media and the official Grind City Media app.
In honor of George Foreman, decided to do a pick 6 on 6 greatest heavyweight boxers of all time.
Number 4, my guy, Mike Tyson. There is no greater feat that I've had. Like if I had my Mount Rushmore of things that I've accomplished in my life, the very first time I beat Mike Tyson in Mike Tyson Punch-Out.
Get all of your HBCU sports and culture news by tuning in to HBCU Huddle with CJ Hurt and Mike Wallace. New episodes drop every Thursday on grindcitymedia.com, YouTube, and Spotify.
We're back. All right, everybody, we have a very special edition of Music Friday today. Riverbeat Music Festival is coming up next month, May 2nd through 4th, second year of Riverbeat down on the river. Headliners, Missy Elliott, The Killers, Anderson .Paak, and the lineup this year is beyond awesome, and it includes a special little feature to some of the best Memphis music of all time. They have a Memphis Rap OGs stage and is going to include the likes of Al Capone, Skinny Pimp, DJ Spanish Fly, amongst others, and our very special guest today, Memphis icon, DJ Zirk.
Yes,
What's
sir.
up, man?
How you doing? How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for being in studio with us this
Yes,
morning.
ma'am.
We really appreciate it. I called you Memphis icon instead of Memphis legend because I was listening to an interview that you did a couple years ago.
Okay.
And you said you prefer icon to legend. Why is that?
Because my music has influenced a whole bunch of, people, fans, artists. So that's why I call myself, an icon.
Okay, that's definitely where you sit from a Memphis standpoint, the Memphis sound, everything that goes back to it.
Yes,
you get to
ma'am.
have this opportunity coming up at Riverbeat.
Yes, ma'am.
How did this all come together? What was it like?
Well, I just got a call, and they was like, would you like to be on? I said, yes. Yeah, because I have been trying to do this for like years and years, and it's like it finally came together.
And it's in Memphis, your
Yes,
hometown.
ma'am.
You're
Yes,
from here.
ma'am.
You're from Orange Mound.
Yes,
What have you
ma'am.
been up to these days?
I'm working on a lot of things. I'm working on a reality series with me and Gangsta Pat and some more people. And I'm working on my album and, DJing. And I'm WYXR. Go check my radio show out, The Underworld.
Memphis is known, and in particular when you come through, Memphis is birthplace of the blues, home of rock and roll, and then you and 8-Ball MJG, 36, like y'all, that 90s hip-hop movement sort of starts taking over, and Memphis is now, at that time, becoming known for good quality hip-hop and rap music.
What was it like at the beginnings of that? I listened to all of the Memphis rappers like from that era because that's kind of what I grew up on. And you can hear the blues influence, you can hear some of the rock and roll influence, but it's a completely different sound and feel. What was it like for you guys, and for you in particular, coming through Memphis in the early 90s?
Man, I try to tell these youngsters it was real tough on us because we had to break the ice. So it's like people used to tell us, it's like when I came out with the song, lock 'em in the trunk and stuff like that. It broke a lot of ice, because they used to say that Memphis, I'm very serious. They used to be like, our music wasn't gonna last, is what they used to tell us. You had Believer, thanks God for Downtown Jackson Brown. When he first played my song, he said, I might lose my job over this, but he said Memphis music is extraordinary, you know what I'm saying? But how we, just being kids and at OTS, staying up late night at the studio, being kids, we used to spend the night at the studio weeks at a time and just believing in ourselves. And think about it, is getting the culture of Memphis and the people that was head up to believe in what we was doing.
It's so interesting that you say that people thought it wasn't going to last.
Right.
Because I was going back and listening to Too Thick this morning. And when you hear it, truly, like, it's a song that could still be made today. Like it carries over and it plays on some of the older stuff. Like you just get that real. I always come back to the dark and spooky vibe of the bass, the deep bass going into some of those early 90s, mid-90s rap that came out of Memphis. But also you reflect back on it. It has the classic Memphis horn sound and going back to the blues and everything. And that ends up being sampled so many times.
Yes, ma'am.
And will probably continue to be. Like, how do you define Memphis sound? Because I feel like that track says so much of it.
Melodic, dark, and we love the bass. The thing about it, we are the home of the blues. And the thing about it, we spoke on a lot of things that were going on in our life, but it's all to entertainment. You got to think about it. But it was just, it was just us. I think coming up, we didn't have a whole lot, and people like Reginald Boylan, there's a lot of other people that kind of gave us a chance. Like I mentioned, Downtown Jackson Brown just gave us a chance, so make us believers. But it was like everywhere. When I started really seeing the light, when I started performing, I performed one time in Mississippi, and me and DJ Squeaky, and we passed out we used to hit the parking lot of the club and sell all our tapes to everybody. And we went in there to perform, and them people tore the whole club up. And it was like, wow, it was like we just couldn't believe it, the way they loved our music. And everywhere we went to, people was like, man, that music it was standing out. Because people don't understand, we came in the days of hip hop, New York hip hop. Them the days we came in, so we was. Man, we knew we was right there with them.
Yeah. Younger people might not understand this. So rap is in its toddler stage in the 90s. It's been around, but it's not really respected. It's still really, really young. And if you wanted to be respected as a rapper, you had to be on the coast. You had to be New York, or you had to be California, right? You had to be East Coast, West
Florida,
Coast. And when you're coming through, you have Goody Mob and Outkast, and Atlanta's coming up also. You have Scarface, and you have them over in Houston coming up. Master P is down in New Orleans, and they're coming up as well. And Memphis with you and others is coming up also. Like, hey, we've got, the South has a different sort of a style there. What was it like fighting for your place, not just in music, but in hip hop specifically at that time?
Well, the thing about it was getting home to believe. If we got home to believe what we was doing, and then it would take care of itself. Me and Cool Joe Goody was at the studio. You wouldn't believe it, Frito's studio on Park in Orange Mountain with Sims at Frito, and he knew, and me and him was talking. He knew that our music was fit to transform. He knew it. He was like, well, what I'm doing now, I was well put to the side. Because it was difficult. Nobody didn't really believe in what we was truthfully doing, So it was very difficult to get there.
You have a great laugh. Has anyone ever told you that?
Yes, ma'am. Thank
You
y'all.
put it on track.
People really have. You wouldn't believe people really have.
It's a very unique
Thank you.
laugh
I
to yourself.
appreciate it.
But for you, we were talking a little bit before during the commercial break. You're from Orange Mound.
Uh-huh.
You're still an ambassador for
Yes.
that community.
ma'am.
How have you seen that area grow, and how do you still continue to stay connected to your roots there?
I think Memphis need to grow in a whole. I think this city needs to grow itself and understand. It trips me out. I mean, right now, when I was, I'm gonna go back to the 90s. I'm gonna go back real fast. I'm gonna do this real fast.
Oh, you
when I
got
was
time.
going to Birmingham, I was going to Atlanta, I was going to Nashville. I was going to these places, they were small, you know what I'm saying? And Memphis was like really on an uproar in the late 80s and 90s. And it's like now I see Memphis in everybody, in every city. It's like they took something from us. And I'll be like, wow, Memphis has influenced the whole world, even you wouldn't believe across seas. I get stuff you wouldn't believe, like from China, be want to order I'd be like, China, Japan. I'd be like, wow, it's like, wow, I can't believe it from being a kid from Orange Mound and seeing this, right now. Even though I did benefit when I was young, but as I got older, I'm benefiting more now.
How so?
Yeah. Huh?
How so?
I'm benefiting a whole lot more.
It just continues to grow more.
It
There's a lot of
continues to
people in the
grow.
chat who want your sweatshirt
Yes,
and want to know
ma'am.
where you can get it.
All across the world. That's what I'd be like, wow, I can go anywhere and people are like, let me get that. I'd be
Is that the most thing is lock 'em in the trunk the thing that most people talk to you about when they see you?
Well, because it was on the radio.
Right.
That's
how I'm not from Memphis originally, but that's how so much like Memphis hip hop and rap came to
Right.
me were the radio hits. But then you move here and you realize all the
Right.
deep cuts that everybody else grew up on too.
Well, we did a song called Looking for the Chewing. That was really our first outbreak, but it wasn't a radio hit. Lock 'em in the trunk. The radio station, people don't believe, was getting so much requests for it. I mean, both radio, K97, I think it was Magic Hot 107 or Hot 101, both of them was calling me. And I was like, I couldn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? It was just like I couldn't believe it. So it broke if you listen to the bass line and you listen to the stuff that we was doing, we was just doing what we love to do.
Yeah.
Are there some local Memphis artists that you love a chance to work with now?
Yes. I work with like Big Hunter. I work with quite a few of these artists because I like to. But a lot of them reach out to me. And they want that old school music. But yes, I love the artists and where it's going today. I really do. I even worked with Megan Stallion, and then it was such a trip. Megan Stallion thought my song was somebody else. And when she found out who it was, boy, it was like, I couldn't believe how she was a big fan of mine.
Yeah.
It was like, wow. But I love working with these young artists,
Is it important for young artists to study the older songs right now, to study songs from the early 2000s, the 90s, the 80s?
Yes. Okay. I was trying to help a lot of producers and people to this earlier, and even in the early 2000s, how I was going to Atlanta, and I would hear producers take our music. So I would come down here and I'd be like, y'all don't know what y'all have in y'all hit kid. He produced Glow and stuff like that. He watched me. He was just a little kid. He watched me, but he took heed of taking Memphis music and putting it, revitalizing or whatever he did. And, it was like I was telling these producers to do that because other cities, Atlanta and stuff, was taking what we was doing, recreating it and making millions. Yeah. But our home wasn't, you know what I'm saying? Our home. But we do have to educate these kids. And I'm getting in a position right now where I'm educating these kids about our music.
Megan Thee Stallion is a great example. She uses Memphis music at least one or two tracks on
Right,
her album where
always.
she'll grab one of those old Memphis beats and put it on the album, and it's always one of my favorite songs on the album.
Right.
And obviously right now with Glow, like she's taken Memphis back to the
storm.
mainstream. And by storm
Right.
here, I mean, it was just a few years ago, CJ and I were at the last iteration of the music festival down on the river, and Glow was there. And it was early,
Right.
but like, the crowd was already, I mean, it was electric. And it's always like when a hometown person's performing down there, which is why it's so cool of what they're doing with all you guys down for the OG set. But to see the growth from that time, to me, she's everywhere.
I know, but it should have been here. It's just that for some reason, you know, and I try to educate people, and I try to tell, and I be really 100 all the time. I learned to sell music from the street.
Yeah.
I didn't know nothing about BMI, ASCAP. I didn't know nothing about publishing, mechanics. I didn't know this because the older heads would keep it to themselves. What they would try to do, they would try to sign me and get all that. You know what I'm saying? But the thing about it, I wasn't going at the time. But, you know, Memphis actually should have been there. But Memphis got to realize we got to help each other. And that's what it's about, is helping each other, because we should have been had it. We had it in the 90s. Even when Atlanta did what they did and other places did what they did, we still should have it, but we're not business educated. Because most of us learned to sell it in stereo stores and all that stuff. We're not educated. Okay, when I went to New York, when I went to, just say Nashville and Georgia, them guys went to college. And I'm like, I'm from the hood, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. I'm like, well, we don't look beyond the hood. But these guys, they went to college. So they learned the business. So they learned how to say, oh, he worth money, let me get him with me. Or let's do a song together. But Memphis, you know, it's like we all here and we all trying to get out, but we don't know how to help. The leaders is really doing, I'm glad Gotti doing what he's doing, you know, because it's a lot of them that could have.
Yeah.
You know, that could have, except everybody wants to be the king.
One of the things I enjoy about Memphis music, particularly in that 90s hip hop rap space, and I think it speaks directly to the way you learn to go out and sell the album, is that record labels aren't involved. When record labels get involved, it softens it, it pops it, right? Like it makes it popular music.
Right.
It doesn't sound different.
Strips
and Memphis,
some of the authenticity from
there
it.
you go. Memphis rap now and then, one of the cool things that I've seen is that authenticity, to use your word, Jessica, it remains and it stays. And I think that's such a good thing for the artist now and the artist then. That's what makes y'all beyond legends. That's what makes you an icon, that authenticity. Nobody was doing it like that. You don't sound like anybody else from that era, and it's still good.
Right. Because what it is club. Our Memphis music is club music. Because, see, I was a DJ, you know, in the club. So think about it. Yeah, I got ideas from listening to the crowd, you know what I'm saying? I did. And
it's like immediate validation, or like, this doesn't work, I got to move on to something else.
Right, right. So, it's like a label has to have some kind of direction to push that music to. So the music we was doing is club music. So that same music, you wouldn't believe, that we was doing in 90, 91, it's the same music today. And music haven't changed in 35 years. And Memphis is a big part of it, because we did club music. So you can play a lot of New York in the club music. I mean, in the club, you know what I'm saying? You can only really, from Florida, a lot of Texas, you can play in the club. But Memphis, man, we made a club. And so the labels learn that's where we promote your music to. I ask each artist, where are you gonna promote your music, or where are you aiming at with your music? Because I hear good songs, except it's like, where you gonna promote it? You know, you gotta have somewhere where you gonna promote your music.
That's the only way it gets heard. Otherwise, it's just good music happening. Hey, before we let you go, I was talking to our friend Jared Boyd, JB, earlier today. He told me you recently DJ'd Al Capone's birthday party, and it turned into an engagement party.
Yes.
What was that like?
Man, it was live. You know, it was really live. Well, I had to push the issue with the music.
How so?
Because he was like, Zirk. I'd be like, no, we doing this tonight, you know? Because, you know, it's about having fun. And then he had a lot of OGs there, a lot of Memphis, you know, we all know each other, and everybody wanted to have fun. Sorry about that, Al. I still love you.
Well, it'll be awesome to see you, see Al, see all the Memphis OGs at River Beat. Get your tickets now. It's 1 month away. I can't wait to see you down at the river.
Yes, I appreciate you, and thank you.
Absolutely.
Bless.
Thanks for being here, DJ Zirk. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up today's show. Take a look at the Final Four coming up this weekend. A little more music news from the week as well. That's when we come back.
Bane, a pump fake, a three. It's true for Desmond Bane. FBK. Fly by King. Wheels through the lane. Now spins back. Ja hangs. Puts it in. Oh, what a shot by Morant in the clutch. So hot. Oh, Jared said no.
Because he doesn't put on a play, comes up with a monster block.
The Millennium Tour 2025 with Trey Songz, Hustle Marion, with Bow Wow, with special guest Rick Ross, along with Plies, Boosie, the Yin Yang Twins, and RSVP, featuring Ray J, Sammy, Bobby V, and Pleasure P, and Nivea. Sunday, April 6th in FedEx Forum. Tickets on sale at Ticketmaster and BPCtickets.com.
Shinedown, Dance Kid Dance Tour. Live in Memphis. FedEx Forum, Saturday, August 30th. With special guests, Bush and Morgan Wade. Get tickets now at livenation.com. Shinedown, live in concert. For more, visit shinedown.com.
Thanks for showing up, Memphis. Nothing beats catching your Grizzlies IRL, and nobody knows that better than you. So next time you want to hit up a game, Ticketmaster's got your back with tickets to every upcoming matchup. Whether you're catching the Grizzlies at home or on the road, you'll find tickets at Ticketmaster, the official ticket marketplace of the Memphis Grizzlies and the NBA. Keep putting that jersey collection to use and get Grizzlies tickets today. There's no better brag than saying you saw it live. See you courtside again soon, Memphis.
The new issue of Slam, the cover dropped, and it is our friend Jaren Jackson Jr. on the cover.
And shout out to you, Lane.
Yeah.
You kept, well, I mean, we knew about it, but you kept this a secret the whole time. So shout out to you for
I wrote
putting
this
this
story.
together.
We did the photo shoot a couple weeks ago here on a Sunday afternoon in the practice court. The Sneak Fest show, live Tuesdays at 2 p.m. on Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app. Grizz Nation gets set for tip-off 1 hour before every Grizzlies home game with the warm-up show. Get the latest news, notes, and analysis live from courtside at FedEx Forum.
Who's going to be the tougher team that rebounds and prevents second chance opportunities?
Join me, Lang Whitaker, along with Michael Wallace, Jessica Benson, and other personalities from Grind City Media, Memphis, and around the NBA. 1 hour before every home game, live at Grind City Media on X, YouTube, and the official Grind City Media mobile app.
The show beats.
Does it
Do you think
sound?
it was
Does it sound
inspired?
dark?
Sound
I hear
dark?
no bass.
Dark,
no
stormy?
bass. I hear no bass. There's no hi hat either.
No, this is the popification that you're talking about.
Yes.
It's a little bouncy. Hey, we have a very important point that Logan in the chat brought up. CJ literally aiming a finger gun at me on our title card. Is he pointing? Is it a finger gun? I think it's a word that I always never learn how to say. You know, the splatter paint, the Rochester. You know what I'm talking about.
Rochester?
Is it a Rochester painting?
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm talking about.
Test.
The test.
The Rorschach test.
Rorschach.
There we
Thank
go.
you, God. And I'll forget it, and we'll do this act again because I think we've done it multiple times on the show so far. Rorschach
Rorschach.
I think it's because I hate the word.
It
doesn't. It's like Worcestershire sauce.
Oh, Worcestershire sauce is a terrible word to say.
You could see it as a point. You could see it as a single finger gun. I'm just saying.
If the NBA came to me, and,
I feel threatened.
If the NBA came to me and warned me about this,
911.
as I point, if the NBA came and warned me about this, and I started pointing on the show, Jessica, during the break, you'd light into me. You'd be like, "What the hell are you doing?
I would.
You've got to stop. You've got to stop before you get.
You have to go to
get in
another
trouble."
performance improvement plan meeting.
I think I'm on my last straw.
You're on the last.
The one I had on Tuesday, men and women did not go well. Also, that's very clearly a point. The thumb isn't up. It's the thumb action that makes it a gun, isn't it?
Is it?
Isn't it?
I mean, technically, yeah.
Like, can I point with two fingers and that's
I'm
not
gonna
a gun?
make AI put your thumb up because that's what we can do now, and no one will know. Who's gonna know? Who's gonna know? No, we'll see. I agree with you in the larger purpose of.
We get caught up in debates trying to like figure out points, and we, not just you and I, but as a collective, when we talk about issues, we don't do a good job of making the points. We just start bickering back and forth.
Yes.
And I feel like that segment with Lang was us bickering back and forth a little too much. My only point is this. Don't do anything to take yourself out of a game or games, plural. So don't do anything after being warned. You're right. The next step is typically a fine, and then you continue to do it. It's a suspension. 5 games left in the season. You're in the 6th seed. You need to win all these games. You got a big-time game coming up against the Timberwolves. Is that at home? No, that's on the road.
The Timberwolves is at home.
The Timberwolves is at home. You got a big-time game against the Timberwolves at home coming up. I would hate for you to be suspended for something like that. Is it stupid? Absolutely it is. And we can have a separate conversation about the stupidity of all of this. But the suspension is real. Don't get suspended for doing dumb stuff. That's my only point of the John Morant situation right now.
And I cannot argue against not getting suspended. And I just can, and my point that I situate in is just how dumb it is and the understanding of if they're going to find something, I get why one would be frustrated enough to the point of, I'm just going to do it anyway. I'm going to be me. That's all I can do. And if being me results in game winner, 30 points, Grizzlies win, snap a 4-game losing streak, and create some sort of energy, this city was on the verge of falling into apathy for this team this season. And right now I feel like there is a unification. There is a collective moment happening of, all right, we're in this. We ride at dawn for John Morant. We ride at dawn for the Memphis Grizzlies. And maybe, just maybe, this is the moment in the season. And it's late, but it's never too late for the moment. As long as you are still in it, it is never too late for the moment to happen. It could be April 4th. It would have been more comfortable if it was January 20th. But perhaps this is where things turn a little bit for the Grizzlies. And it is an interesting weekend. It is interesting watching the Warriors-Nuggets game tonight. Chris was so excited. He thought that the Warriors didn't play again until Sunday. Nope. Second night of a back-to-back. They've got the Nuggets tonight coming off of their win over the Lakers last night. And you look at the Timberwolves, the Anthony Edwards injury, which we didn't talk about. He ended up coming back. It looked so bad in the moment of it, of Anthony Edwards basically stepping back off the three-point line into the foot of Jordi Fernandez, the Nets coach. This shouldn't happen. There is no reason why this has to be as tight as it is. Because there should be no world where a freak, and I hope that Anthony Edwards is fine and that he comes back. Fingers crossed. And that this isn't something where, it swells overnight and he's dealing with an ankle injury, and everyone's been talking about how easy that Timberwolves schedule is here as they try to make their positioning out of the play-in tournament. But that shouldn't happen. And there has to be a way to fix that happening because it was horrible. But anyway, Timberwolves surging, Clippers surging. You just have to keep winning.
Grizzlies surging? They've won one on the road.
It's one. I'm willing to call it a surge.
They won on the road.
What's before a surge?
A slow trickle.
A trickle?
They're
trickling?
They're trickling.
That sounds like they're peeing down their leg.
Flowing?
A slow flow?
A slow flow.
A slow flow.
A light flow.
A light flow.
Then we get heavy flow.
An end of the cycle flow.
Then we... Jessica, come on.
I'm sorry, you guys don't get it.
No.
What is life if we can't make flow jokes?
Come on, man. That's so
We
inappropriate.
named a whole progressive person after it.
Did we?
Flo.
Is that where flow came from?
I don't think so. But I like it. but I like it. All right, Final Four this weekend. Women's Final Four starts tonight. Texas, South Carolina, UConn, UCLA. UCLA, the overall number 1 seed. Sports is so silly sometimes. Always, often. Like 99% of the stuff we talk about is so silly. UCLA is the overall number 1 seed, and they are out here like, we're about to prove all the haters wrong. We're about to prove all the doubters wrong. And now, to be fair, they're 8.5-point underdogs, or at least earlier this week they were 8.5-point dogs. I don't know where the line stands right now in their game against UConn. That's the second game tonight, 8:30 Central Time. UConn has all the energy. They are far from the flow. They are fully into the momentum and the surge at this point in the year, going into their 24th all-time Final Four appearance as a program, which just blows anybody else out of the water. What's the
That
line?
line has moved one.
7.5?
7.5.
I thought you were going to say 9.5, and I was going to be like, that's dirty. That's
7.5.
dirty. Who are you taking in tonight's games?
I will take Texas. It's hard to bet against UConn, man.
It really is.
And I just bet against South Carolina. But I'm going to do Texas.
Interesting.
And I'm going to do UCLA. Let's get it going.
See, and I'm doing for the exact opposite. I'm doing UConn and South Carolina because for me, it's impossible to bet against Dawn Staley and Gino Auriemma. The players almost come secondary, which is insane to say given how Paige Beckers is playing right now, how Sarah Strong is playing for UConn. I find that South Carolina roster just fascinating. I very much look forward to if Full Wiley has a Wiley, that could mean a great performance or it could mean she has absolutely zero impact on the game.
South Carolina.
They've beaten Texas 2 of the 3.
A couple of years ago, when they ended up losing, I think in the Final Four championship game, I can't remember which one it was,
Mm-hmm.
I realized they couldn't shoot. South Carolina did not have shooters at all.
They don't either.
And you would think that would get fixed at a certain point.
But they still find ways to win.
Win.
Which is
dominate, run through people.
Win 3 of the last 4. They haven't gone back to back.
Well.
So there is another notch to be added for Dawn Staley and company.
I mean, I don't know if she's a good coach if she can't win back-to-back national championships.
I
Pat
always
Summitt's
find,
done it. Gino's done it.
Did Muffet ever do it? I don't think she won back-to-back.
I don't think Muffet
I think
ever
the only
won.
back-to-backs are Gino and Pat.
Yeah.
The thing that's so weird about the Women's Final Four is, like, you start a weekend, like here we are Friday morning, and it's over by the time we're back on Monday. The men's being Saturday and Monday, with the national championship game always coming on the Monday. Who will be playing for the national title game on the men's side? I am taking Duke and Florida. I think Florida upsets Auburn.
I will take. Wait, Florida upsets. And Florida favored?
Are they?
I think
That's what I
Florida's
was just going to
favored.
look at.
I think Florida's favored because Florida has been special.
Well, yes.
Auburn's been special also.
They both
this
have.
This has been going to be really fun. I feel like Florida is a 5.5-point favorite. I will take Houston, and I will take Florida.
You're taking Houston.
I will take Houston.
You're taking the defense over the offense.
I will. Wow.
Wow.
I will take that. I will take the experience as well. Houston, there's just something there that I like. They remind me of not just in style of play, but in how that roster is built. They remind me a lot of teams from the early 2000s, late 90s, where it's just a bunch of dudes who probably aren't going to go pro at a high level. They might go to the G League and get a chance to bounce around here and there, but they're just scrappy, fun, feisty college players. And so I will, and experience also. I'll take them over Flag, Proctor, and the Nipple.
Not the Nipple.
I mean, every time I hear Knipple's name, it's like, oh, who left the nipple open?
I was talking to my friend last night she's going to kill me if she's watching this.
She's not. Let's
go.
go.
I don't think she is. It's late.
Let's go.
She's pregnant.
Okay.
And she was talking about because when you're pregnant, I don't know if you know this, but like
I do. I'm
a
expert on
situation transpires with the nipples.
Oh, you start lactating. You can say lactate.
Well, that too. No, they just get.
And they get, well, yes, that's a part of the lactation.
Yes,
they
part
get
of the
huge
process.
so the baby can latch onto it
Anyway,
to get the milk. Yeah.
I said, oh no, your nipples are too big, and nobody got it. Like it just went straight over the head, and I didn't feel like explaining it to the crowd because the best jokes are the ones that you have to explain to everybody.
That was a damn good joke.
I thought so. It was one of those unfortunate times where like My friends are pretty big sports fans. But you gotta be a real one in it to know the knipple at that point. All right, that'll do it for this Friday. I hope everyone has a magical weekend. I hope the Grizzlies beat the Pistons tomorrow, and I hope we're back on Monday talking about the Grizzlies perhaps even further elevated in the Western Conference standings. Stay safe, stay weather aware. I think some more storms rolling in tonight, but also shout out to two of my very best friends here in Memphis, Jalen Sochek and Keith Evanson. They are getting married this weekend, and I am so excited to celebrate them all weekend long. So please send them some extra love and send some words to the weather gods to keep the skies clear tonight and tomorrow for all their wedding festivities. We'll see you on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye.
We didn't get to talk about things we're listening to.
Yes.
Program